Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Vamsi Duvvuri, TMT AI leader for Ernst & Young, EY. Today, I've had the pleasure of speaking with Vijay Kotu, the Chief Analytics Officer of ServiceNow. Vijay, welcome to the conversation.
Hello, Vamsi. Good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Vijay, I would love for you to then talk about how that ServiceNow feature would integrate with maybe other platforms and systems that the client may already be using, like the
Yeah,
ERPs of the world or the CRMs of the world, because
yeah,
it's all about creating business value, which means it has to connect into the ecosystem.
yeah. So I can talk about that. So the AI control tower, it's an application. It also brings in data from other applications as well.
Mhm.
For example, we use a third-party software for us to understand how data is drifting after the model is live. So that information comes in. And AI control tower also discovers the models that are available that we have built in some hyperscaler solutions as well. So it brings that information too. And with any integration that is required for in enterprise data platform, Snowflake, Databricks, etc. So it brings that information on computing a particular business case or business metric and how it is affected by this AI use case.
Got it. Okay. And that is an interesting pivot from, measurement and governance. So now let's talk about the fuel that actually makes AI and everything else happen, which is data. And as a lot of clients are still struggling with figuring out where their data is. How do you take the data from those siloed stores, lakes, whatever, and then how do you kind of bring that to AI? How should leaders of AI think about siloing the data that is within their enterprise?
There is going to be one universal truth, and that is data is going to be in many different places in a modern enterprise. It has been the same case in the past. It has gotten a little bit better, but even in future, it's going to be few places where data is stored and processed there. AI needs diverse set of data, and that is the promise, right? Because the foundational LLM capabilities, libraries, etc., that is almost right now commoditized. So the
Exactly.
value that we can capture is on two areas. One is data, because these are the data sets that the
Mm.
organizations have, and some might be proprietary data sets. And on the other way that we can increase the value is going to be in the experience layer,
Mhm.
how this AI is incorporated in someone's job, day-to-day applications they're using, etc. So those are the two areas that is going to be a differentiator. On the data side, how do we bring diverse set of data to AI so the AI could be really better? Well, we can bring in data. If AI is going to do a deterministic thing, then we can bring it through APIs, integrations, data set here and there, and you can organize in a feature set, and then we can provide a right AI algorithm on top of it. But
Mhm.
that's not how that's changing, because those are deterministic way of solving it. And with agentic AI, the core feature of agentic AI is non-deterministic actions.
Yep.
Right? And for that, you would need non-deterministic way of bringing data from other sources there, right?
Mhm.
And this is where new technologies have are really helpful. In ServiceNow, we use workflow data fabric,
Mhm.
particularly zero data copy, so that we can declare wherever the data is, leave a physical copy of the data there, create a virtual copy, and bring that into the system so it can have access to really diverse set of data that is required for AI to perform better. So I see that is the way the future is going to be on workflow data fabric and zero data copy kind of technologies.
Absolutely. And I think, the zero data copy and some of these accelerators and frameworks really allow enterprises to then get data faster to AI, but with confidence as well, because it goes back to the idea of it's not just about putting any data in, it's putting the right data in. So now that we have covered sort of like how do I govern things, what do I look for data, what are you seeing in terms of use cases that enterprises have been able to bring to customers, employees in the fastest time to value possible?
Yeah, great question. I think the set of use cases I've seen work inside ServiceNow, and I've talked to many of our customers, are in 5 categories in high level, I would say. Number one, search, conversations, requester focused. Like I have
Mhm,
something to do. I need to search for and some organizational information, both
mhm,
structured and unstructured. A conversational way of actually doing the work. Particularly, I have a problem. I need to request something, and I able to self-serve just in conversation and search. In the past, it used to be unstructured work behind the scenes. So we see that getting adopted really well. And it is also influenced by what's happening in the consumer world because we are
mhm.
used to the kind of conversational technologies that we are expecting here. So that is one category, search, conversations, request management. Another category I see things working really well is task automation and augmentation. So these are specific tasks for specific roles. You can break down a role into multiple tasks. So my role can have 50 different tasks that I do. And some of those tasks can be augmented and automated by AI. And those are the use cases if you launch that is with a specific intent for that role. And it's much easier for change management. And that really helps the reshaping of that role and preparing for this AI generation here. And we see that working really well when the intent is really focused on specific tasks. And the third one is process automation. The thing about process, it covers multiple roles and multiple tasks, maybe even multiple departments there. And that
Yep.
is where the true global optimization comes in. What portion of those process execution can be augmented by agentic AI? So we see the process automation, process augmentation working really well.
Mhm,
And the fourth one I would say is developer focused,
mhm,
right, is one area where there is going to be more of change that is coming in is how we develop our products.
mhm,
I'm not just talking about like code assist kind of technologies. It could be in the design area, how we understand how we're getting customer data in so that we can design the product better. So we see a lot more innovation coming in that area on how we build the product and also who builds the product. The notion has changed. It's not just AI being created by data scientists, and that is now like developers are creating AI or even users are creating AI as well with the really smart prompts that they're able to provide. So who developed this AI capability? It cannot be just set it to one team. So it's going to be a collaborative effort. And the last one I would say is decision support. This is where AI is helping a
mhm.
lot in terms of decision support for the leaders and managers. So those are the 5 areas where we have seen most impact and value getting generated through AI.
Got it. Thank you. That was very, very helpful. Maybe I could, you know, maybe let's double click on one of the areas that you talked about, because, as you talk about workflows and processes where a set of tasks may be distributed across teams and functions can now be accelerated through AI. The interesting thing is with the advent of agentic AI, people have still figuring out how to, optimize that process. So how should companies think about optimizing that process, automating that process? And maybe they were in the process of doing that with like Gen AI, and now agentic AI is
Yeah,
there. So how should I shift my mindset if I'm in that space?
yeah, yeah. So Gen AI, and even I would say a prior incarnation of those AI capabilities before, let's start with prediction, prescription recommendation, and generative AI. These are all oriented for tasks. They focus on one task, and the task could be prediction, forecasting, content generation, etc. Right? Agentic AI is slightly different because it brings those tasks and orchestrates in a non-deterministic way, so it can actually do a process there. Right? So that's the fundamental difference between what happened before Gen AI and with agentic AI there. Now, the fastest way that we can roll out an agentic AI use case is look at the existing processes, right? Companies have thousands of processes. Many of the processes are structured, and maybe it's in different applications there. In some cases, it's unstructured process where it's essentially happening through emails and chats, etc. But for the structured processes, for the most part, and they all, every time they run, they generate data, they exhaust data. So if we can access the data, we use process mining a lot. So if you access the data, you can build back the process to show how the processes are really working versus what it's supposed to, let's say, work in a PowerPoint or something, right? But this is the representation of process that is really working. And that gives us a clue on existing processes that are across the company. And many parts of the process is a great use case for agentic AI. For example, customer support is one of the processes that we run, and there is a class of customer support cases where it is high volume and low complexity. And that is a great use case for agentic AI to get started. So we actually augmented our customer support processes, particularly low complexity, high volume, using agentic AI, and we are seeing some results, good results coming in. So going back to the existing processes, what the organizations do is a great use case with agentic AI to get started. And I would say this is kind of a local optimization, not the global optimization, but we should start talking about local optimization first before coming up with brand new processes that never existed in an organization. That would be the next step there, but let's start with existing ones.
Got it. Vijay, thanks again for such an engaging conversation and joining us today. For more interviews and insights, please visit cdomagazine.tech.